Mm-hmm.
So we need to be able to deal with both the versions of MS Office, Excel 5 XLS and XLSX.
Mm.
So
XLS.
yeah, also for that we have two libraries. One is POI, which is the provider is Apache, and the other one is JXL. Okay. Both can read both the formats mostly. Okay. So
Mm.
being the latest, it is suggested to take XLSX always with its advanced features. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then, yeah. So we use Maven basically. So for example, there is always no laptop. No, so there are times when you have lot of packages like POI and few others and Selenium and so on. You import those jars into the library, right?
Okay.
So what, in Eclipse, you right click, build path, and then you say configure build path, and you add external jars. In that you add Selenium, right? So in that you will have to add PY also.
Mm-hmm.
You will have to download the PY and then add it. So this setup cannot be done every time. Like for example, your manager wants to review your code, so he pulls out your code, and you say that you have dependencies like Selenium, PY, and few more which needs to be manually updated into the libraries, and then you should run
Mm-hmm.
your test cases, right? So
Yeah.
to avoid such thing, and sometimes you may also forget. You have like 10-15 packages, and you will forget what to keep and what to install and what not to install, and sometimes you were using PY earlier, now you have switched to JXL. Okay,
Mm.
so you and your teammate, both of you have installed PY earlier and without their notice, you have changed it to JXL. Okay, when they are trying to run the test cases which you have written, or your juniors maybe, okay, you will write the test cases and give them and they will execute and check pass and fail. That is the case usually. Okay. Seniors write the code and juniors check the code. I mean, juniors run the test cases. Okay, in such a scenario, so without them knowing you have changed it to JXL instead of PY. In such a scenario, they will face an issue. To avoid
Mm.
these discrepancies, what we do is we use Maven. Maven is a build tool which is helpful to resolve such dependencies. I mean, you're going to build path, right? You're configuring the build path. So for configuring the build path, we use a build tool called Maven.
Mm-hmm.
For Maven, uh, alright, if you look at this, pom.xml is the only file in your entire project which indicates that you are using Maven. Okay, there is no other
Mm-hmm.
change. Your like TestNG will come into your test cases and add few annotations and all, right? Maven will not intervene with any of your existing scripts. Okay, you just have to add a new file called pom.xml. Okay, if you look deep into this file, Please ignore these files which were open. This is all what we need. Okay, dependencies. Sorry, yeah, p1.xml. There will be a lot of other tabs which basically give you the idea of what has been written over here. Okay. So this is how you write an XML. All of this is a standard. Everything is a standard. You just copy paste the entire thing into your new project. Okay.
Mm.
And then you so this will be repeating like dependency, dependency, dependency. If you look at it, it is repeating, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for such things, for TestNG, in one of the dependency packages, you mention what you want and what is its name, what is its version, and its scope, whether you want to pre-compile it or not. Mostly this is not written, only for TestNG this will be written. Okay. If you look at others, scope is, compilation is not written. Okay. So by default it will not compile, but TestNG you will have to compile before running your test cases, right? So,
Mm.
right. I'm sorry for my bad nose. So you add all your dependencies here, like the unit, and then let's say Excel added or POI added, none of them is added. Okay, anyways, you put a dependency here. Okay, this dependency common lang has changed to something else. Okay, common lang 2.1 will not work. Common languages or something. It has got changed. That's why it is throwing error. Okay. Right. So similarly, if you look at this, they have given a code already for such dependency declaration. So in case of this dependency, you would be writing this. If you are using POI in your workspace, you will be adding this in pom.xml. Okay. If your project is having pom.xml, okay, you will say file import Maven, existing Maven project. Okay, and then browse for it. And here you will be able to see one pom.xml when you import it for the first time. See, like this. So you are browsing, then you will see one pom.xml. I'm not able to select it because I have already imported it into Workspace. Okay, so if you are
Mm.
importing it for the first time, you will select it. The checkbox will be true. Okay, and then you click on next or finish depending on your requirement. When you click on finish, it will download all these jar files including the Selenium jar, Selenium testng. You were not able to run the testng jar, right?
No.
Right. So from the marketplace we had to download. Otherwise this is how you do it from here you give it and it will download for you. Now if I mm, mm, okay. Now if I go to build path, there on earth is my build path. Spider. Okay. Mm, Java double E and okay.
You could left click and properties too.
Mm, Alright. So
Yeah.
Maven dependencies. Inside Maven dependencies, all of these have come, including Selenium servers. Okay, how did it come? Selenium, Java, Selenium server, and everything. Okay, you did not add, right? When you were importing the project, you never added, like how you do
Mm.
for a project which you created. You never did this part. Okay, so
No,
this
I don't think
part is done by pom.xml. That is Maven. Maven
so.
resolves all your dependencies, okay, and imports all the jar files. Okay, all the jar files have been imported successfully. Okay, so here it will import the POI jar file for you and store it in the build path. Or else, if you want to do the thing manually, you will have to go to this website POI Apache and download it. Okay, like somewhere here you can download it, and here you can mention any previous version also. It will take care. Okay.
Mm. Trying to see if I have those imported.
So all these jars will come into your build path when you do it with Maven directly. And
Yeah, I have Selenium server and Java. I don't see no Java
and
file though.
sorry,
I don't see the. I have the Selenium server file, but not the Java file. Java server.
where do you not see it in the build path
Yeah, in the build file.
for the same machine?
Selenium Java. Yeah. Selenium Java. Okay, I have Selenium Java.
Got it?
Yeah, Selenium Java.
Mostly it will be in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So now let's come to the terminology. Okay. Look at the terminology. Workbook represents the entire XLSX file. Okay. In an Excel sheet, you can create a number of sheets in the bottom. Like you go here and you keep on adding some sheets, right?
Right.
Right. And so in such a thing, the entire file cqsearch.xlsx, whatever it is, that is called as workbook. And because there are two different formats, XLSX workbook is called as XSSF, HSSF. Okay, and
Right.
each of these, like this one, these are called sheets,
Right.
right? And this one individual box, whatever information it might contain, is called as cell. Okay, and this number 3 is called as the row. So this is in
Yeah.
third row. Then this is in third column. This entire vertical space containing so many cells are this column is called co- sorry this the entire vertical structure is called as column, and the entire horizontal structure is called as row.
Yeah.
Okay. Then one selection is cell, as you know. In that again you have split between XLS and XLS.
Yeah.
Okay. So now what is it can you do with Excel? You have a fixed Excel sheet where you have stored usernames and passwords for your testing purpose. For example, you have a scenario where you want to where you want to execute a test case called login for 5 users. One is valid user, second one is invalid credentials, I mean valid user with wrong password, then an invalid user, then a username with special characters, and then a username containing only numbers and special characters, no alphabets. Okay, so for
Mhm.
Gmail you have written all these login scenarios, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in such case, I would only want to read usernames and passwords from my Excel sheet. I don't want to write anything to my Excel sheet. And in few other scenarios, like the Excel sheet which you see in front of you, this is your test case name. Okay, and I have to write if it has passed or failed.
Mhm.
Okay, I run the test case with the help of Selenium and SNG, and then I open the Excel sheet and write the final result here, and then close the Excel sheet again for every test case like that. So you have read and write operations. Okay, so how do you read? This is the code to read. First, don't get puzzled by seeing so long code. They have written it with
Mhm.
too many comments, so it looks so long. Okay, it hardly has 10 lines. Okay, so you
Mhm.
take the file name, like if I look here, this is my file path, C users, C workspace, CQ search Excel files, and the name of the file is cqsearchc.xls. So I give the entire path followed by file name. Plus is used for appending text. Okay, so I declare a file, then I read the file, okay, using file input string. Then I declare a workbook. If the
Over
file,
there.
uh, first I will put it as blank, then
Mhm.
I will get the extension. If it is XLSX, okay, then I have to use XSSF workbook. So
Yeah.
the entire thing will become something like mhm, framework new class test. So it'll become something like this. I give the file name.
Mhm.
Can't have so much code. Okay, and then you take this workbook. You know that it is already XLSX file.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would call it like this. I read the file into bytes, bits and bytes. I pass those bits and bytes to a workbook. Now I created a workbook. Okay, after creating a workbook, I know that it is XLSX. Otherwise, if it is XLS, you would take HSSF workbook. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I would get some sheet out of it. UISL, what are these? Whatever. S is for XLSX. SL for XLS. Okay. Then I want to read how many rows are there. So this will be my line to find the number of rows. Then I want to print all the values inside the rows. Okay. So row equal to get row. I mean for loop for row count. We will repeat these steps. Get the row. In that row, you would read the number of columns, and for each column you will print the data. For getting the value, you would have to do get string cell value. This is the function to get the value out of a row column combination. So row is already having get row of I. Then you would do get cell of j. I is row number, j is column number. Okay, then you would do get its value. Okay, and you're printing. Okay, then in the main function, you're creating an object and you're providing the file and you're calling the function which you have just written.
Mhm.
So it prints some output like this. Oh, the double pipe symbol is printed because I've written a double pipe here. That got printed. Okay. Then similarly, if you want to write data, everything is common. Okay. You're writing data to an existing file. Then you would want to create a new file sometimes. So both scenarios are there. So in case of existing file, you do the same thing. Okay. And then get a sheet, get a row count. Okay. And after that, you will create a row with row count plus 1. Already I have some 20 lines in my Excel sheet. I want to create a 21st line. I would not want to overwrite any existing line, right?
Yeah.
So I would add a new row. In that, for each cell, like You created a row. Now you have to create column in each of them. So here you have created a row. Now you have to create so many number of columns as you want, and then you would set cell value. Earlier you were doing get string cell value. Now you are doing set cell value, and you would write whatever you want to write. Okay. Basically, data
Mm.
to write contains an array of all the values of the column, of the row. So if I have 5 columns in my row, the data to write will contain 5 values in the array. So I would be passing one for each. Okay, and that's all.
Mhm.
The remaining thing is the same. You simply read the file, then you call the method which you have written above, and you would print whatever information you want. You would print that information over. For example, this is the information you want to write. It has 2 values that you would want to add. So it will add one row, then 2 columns, then enter the value into the specified row column combination. Similarly,
But
you
what is
would,
the point of
sorry,
writing data when you could just write it yourself in an Excel sheet and make it easier?
what is the point in writing data?
Yeah, I mean using Java to write it, whereas you could just go on the Excel sheet and then put in whatever you have to, right?
Okay, okay, so you're executing a bunch of test cases, okay, and you want to prepare a test report. So at the
Mm-hmm.
end of every test case, you would simply call this function and say, write the test case name. I mean, instead of this data, this junk data, you would write the test case name, okay, and the time of run, date and time, and then if it ran, pass or fail, your
Mm-hmm.
report would be ready by the end of the testing. For example, I have a lot of test cases, like some 50 test cases I have. So
Right.
it's tough for me to write all the 50 test cases status manually. Upon that, I would not know the date and time of the run when the test case was run exactly. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is in web applications, you are accessing this web page, and in parallel there is a deployment going in the backend to update the background color of the page and the font they are using and the way the text is organized, everything. Okay, so you're in the middle of the test case. This test case has passed. Okay, suddenly at the end of 11:49, your test case started failing.
Mm.
Okay, so you would understand why they failed. If you know the date and time when you are running the test case, you would understand why they failed. What happened at that specific point of time? Was there some deployment, or did the server go down, or was there any internet disconnection at that point of time, or power outage? Any physical or technical issues can be identified if you know the date and time. Date and time can be returned only during the execution. You cannot manually provide the date and time of execution, right?
Mm-hmm.
In such scenarios where you are forced to write data using Java into Excel, you follow this complicated process. Okay. And then
Okay.
there are scenarios when, for example, I have written 33 test cases here. Okay, I have 10 such sheets. So I have to follow up for the status for almost 300 test cases. For running 300 test
Mm.
cases itself, it takes 1 to 2 hours. So after 2 hours, I have to go back and recollect what happened to that test case, whether it passed or failed, and then update in the Excel sheet, which is a tedious job. Okay. So I would want
Mm.
to update it with the help of Java itself using PY. Okay. Then so similarly, with in parallel to PY, we have JXL. Okay. A Java API to read, write, and modify Excel. Okay. So this shows how you wanna configure JXL. So it works similarly to PY what we saw, what how we write, how we read data from Excel. Okay, and if you give an existing cell number when you are writing data, it will modify the existing data, right?
No.
Yeah. So more or less. So my suggestion is not to use JXL in any new project because the library is not supported and the lack of features compared to PY API. So PY is quite advanced. So there is no pointing in learning an outdated technology, right?
Right.
Yeah. So they didn't give any specific examples, but it works similarly to the above one when for writing, reading, and modifying. Okay.
Okay. Now where do you store this file? The POI file?
It will py is a jar file. That jar file will go into your Maven dependencies folder, which I have shown you.
Mm-hmm.
Into that folder, it
Okay.
would be imported directly. Okay. If look at this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be a folder called .m2 that will be created by Maven to store all these downloaded jar files.
Right. And then the
And then
basically you're
this add external jars kind of thing will happen automatically without your intervention. That will be added to your libraries automatically.
mm-hmm.
Okay, does that make
Understand. Okay.
clear?
Yeah. And then the Excel file that you created for all the test cases, right?
All right.
Is that stored in a like? Is there a specific folder you're supposed to store that in
That's up to
to
you.
read it?
That's up to you because you provide the path. Uh,
Right.
if you look at this, mm, yeah, you are the one providing the file path and file name where you want to store, where you have stored it already.
So that doesn't matter. Right? It could be anywhere on my computer.
Yes, of course. All you have to do is pass the parameter correctly.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then we have already seen about the frameworks. So in data-driven test framework, like in an example which I've told, when you want to test your test case with 5 different users, yes, that itself is called as data-driven test framework. You design your test case in such a way that you read the Excel file, you get the number of rows, and you repeat your test case that many times as number of rows. The same test case you will keep on repeating. until your data is exhausted in the Excel. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then keyword driven, wherein your test case will be written something like this. Rather than in absolute Java, you write a test case like this. Okay, you write your test case name, you write the keyword. Keyword is something like send keys or get element or click or
Right.
the explicit wait with expected conditions. Okay, and then your object will be um, the XPath, whatever you give, that will be your object. Okay, and object type would be something like XPath, ID, CSS path, tag name, name, class name. Okay, and then value. For example, you are working with a text box. You want to enter some value into it. So you have to provide that value, right? Without providing that value, it will not work. So such a value will be provided in the value column over here. Okay, and then in the backend, you will have a code with the help of PY, okay, which will read this Excel sheet and convert it into code. Okay, so someone has written a very complicated Java file which would convert the values that you see in the Excel sheet into a Java code. Okay, so that would be a keyword driven framework, or else maybe you might be asked to write one such Java file which will read the Excel file and convert it as part of your job. You might be asked to design any framework. That doesn't have to be hybrid, that doesn't have to be keyword, that doesn't have to be data driven, sometimes a combination of everything, right?
Right.
So in this scenario, this is how you write, and in the backend you will have a Java file with the help of PUI and a lot of if else statements. If keyword equal to go to URL, then driver dot get value. Okay.
Mm.
If keyword equal to set text, then driver dot get element by name, username, then driver dot get element dot clear, then the web element dot send keys value.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so you will write so many if else statements looking at your keywords. Okay, and not only keywords, if else conditions will have to be there in object types also. So if it is, for example, I should give an example. Mm, mm, mm. Okay. Yeah. So if it is ID, if it is XPath, if it is CSS, if it is name, after do driver dot find element by name and value, right? Similarly, you have to write a lot of if else for the keywords also.
Mm. It seems longer if you do the keyword, right?
It is long, but for someone to implement the test cases, it's quite easy, right? Once you write, once this utils thingy is ready, Once this converter is ready, all you have to do is put up an Excel sheet and put some keywords and your job is done. Writing a test case is quite simple. For every test
Mm,
case, you don't have to write Java code and struggle so much. So this is usually we have thousands of test cases. And okay, and like all of them follow common procedures. So all of them use go to URL, set text, just click, then close some
mm,
buttons, then some text boxes, then some drop downs, and all that. But what if your application is so complicated, like mm, okay. So I click here, fine. This is simple.
mm,
Now I have to verify that all my bubbles show the same as what I have clicked.
mhm,
This cross-checking part becomes a bit tedious in case of keyword-driven framework. But if the one who writes the framework is strong enough, they would write methods to validate as well, like
mm,
validate array and so I'm doing the wait explicit conditions, explicit condition dot presence of element located, invisibility and all. And then yeah, I am validating that the selected option. Okay, there is a scenario here where I select any from the drop down and enter some text here and click on search. Okay, after clicking
mhm,
on search, this automatically changes to all by its own. Okay, so that is a faulty developed application, right? So
mm,
I have to check back that this drop down is having whatever I have selected. It has not changed. So that's
mm,
a validation. Validate, select from drop down by text. So I will validate whether what I have selected is the same what is present after refreshing or after clicking on search. Okay, so such validations are also required when writing a keyword driven. Okay,
So how did you validate that? So you got the text.
so now I will go here, I would open this
Mhm,
and if you look at this, I would say and do something like that. And now I will again go to this inspect.
oh, okay.
If I
It's still
see,
there. Okay.
if I see this is marked as selected, so my
Mhm,
XPath will be something like slash slash option square bracket having at the rate selected. Okay.
mhm,
Then I do a get element. Then I do a get text. If the get text is equal to any, it's working fine,
no,
right? If the get text result is something else, it means that it's not working. That's how we worry.
no.
Okay.
But has there ever been like a case where like after Yeah, when you came back to the search again after putting the essay, has there been a case where like that disappears?
Yes, of
Is
course.
there a way to validate something like that?
I put in AICF and say enter. Now if you see it's all, I've put any.
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed?
Yeah, I know that it's all that.
Yeah, so that's, yeah, even after clicking on search, all these options will disappear. Nothing will be shown up here.
Mm-hmm.
There are few cases like that as well. And I have seen one case where extra options come up. There are few hidden options. For example, you're working from US, okay, and you are shopping on Amazon, okay, and you want to select a delivery to some other country.
Mm-hmm.
You have only few options. You cannot select a shipping to Iraq from US, for example. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But after clicking on submit, if you click on the drop down of the country, now you see Iraq. That doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah,
It's,
I
yeah,
believe
so
that.
behavior should be consistent. So such scenarios come up. They have hidden the Iraq option. For example, if I'm shopping from India, I am allowed to put the shipping location as Iraq, but you are not allowed. The
Mm-hmm.
website is same, Amazon. Okay, but the options are different. So the options are hidden basically. They don't design a
Mm-hmm.
completely new website for each country. You just hide the options depending on the country from where you're logging in. So every laptop has geotagging, so the location is loaded obviously,
Right.
and based on your IP address also they can get your location. So
Based on what? IP
IP
address.
address, your
Yeah, yeah.
machine MAC address, IP address.
Right.
Alright, so based on IP address, or if your location is on over here, there is an option to turn on your location on your laptop also. So considering many options like that, things might change. So end of the day, your drop down should not get the Iraq option after you click on search.
Right.
Right? Yeah. So such validations should also be included in this framework. Not only the clicking or send keys, not only those,
Mm-hmm.
but all the validation options should also be included. Then only it makes it a complete framework. Okay.
Right. But so when you were doing the test case for
Mm-hmm.
that website, right? Go back to the search bar.
Yeah, it works. It will click, if I say click, it will verify the drop down by text. It will verify.
No, no. I mean, can you go back to your Qualcomm or whatever the name is?
This one?
Yeah. So like the for like a test cases, I'm pretty sure you had to get this whole advanced search bar, like everything in there too, right? To make sure that everything pops up.
Yes. Yes, I have to check that this is present. I have to check that this is present. And if I click on this, everything should disappear. If I click on this, then it should come back in the same way it was earlier. It will not
Right. So it,
delete all these values when I click on close. It will retain
uh,
the stuff. That will
mhm.
also be another test case.
So you would make this one test case, right, with everything included in here, like all the options everywhere, description,
Yes,
content.
everything in one single test case.
Okay.
And then you click on this, a date pop-up should come and it should have so and so details to be displayed. And you should be able to
Mhm.
select whatever you want. And after selection, the format in which it should be shown is MMDDYYY. It should not be
Right.
DDMM, it should be MMDD. Other things should
Mm,
be cross-checked.
okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm,
Mm, yeah, if you look at this, this is what I was saying. So many if else statements or switch case, any conditional statement. Okay. So if it is go to URL will go over here and execute this.
So over here, right, like how it says on the Excel sheet, says keyword, go to URL, right?
The keyword is go to
Mm,
URL, so it goes to the
mm,
third case in my conditional
mm,
statements, which is switch case. Okay, so if it is set text, it goes to the second one. If it is go to URL, it goes here. If it is click, it goes here. Similarly, it might be having get text.
so
Okay.
that get text contains the driver dot find element, all that, everything inside set text, or you have to write that?
You will have to design this function. This will be part
Uh-huh.
of your framework. So here you will have additional lines saying read the Excel sheet using PY.
Mhm.
One second. So you are the one who will be designing this public void perform, and you will also
Mhm.
include PY here, which will read this Excel sheet each
Right.
line by line, column by column, and convert those values into code with the help of this switch case control.
Mhm.
Okay. So read object Java, read object will read your Excel sheet, and this will convert it into something code like this, and then this will execute.
No, then you just create your test thing, and then you could just call those keywords basically right into your test case.
Yes. So you create a test case .xlsx like this, and you put the keyword.
Okay. Yeah, so then so if you change your Excel sheet, right? I mean, if you change the sheet that contains the codes, it's
Mm-hmm.
not gonna affect anything, right?
If you change the Excel sheet,
Yeah, if you put more codes in there.
no, it will not affect. It will run all of them. For
Right.
example, here this guy is taking up two test cases here. One is reset login, the other one is login.
Right.
You can add more test cases after this.
Okay.
So the entire framework is actually given here. Hmm. So this will be a folder structure in your Eclipse which you create. After creating this folder structure in the Guru99 Excel file.java, this is the code that you are supposed to put, and in read object you put this in UI operation. So what is the sample code to be put into for that framework to work is also described here. Okay.
Mhm.
After execution, your output will look like this. So because system.out.println new test case get row gets cell started. So for every line, username started, password started, reset button started. So that all will be printed into your console.
Mm-hmm.
Then coming to hybrid. Okay, here you take the advantage of both keyword driven and data driven, but you can also do with the help of test engine. Because data driven you can do with the help of the data provider. Remember here you have a method data provider which reads the Excel and provides that input to this file. Okay, and you consume that data. Uh, sorry about- okay, so TestNG implements a combination of both above. It reads the data from Excel file and it provides the data to another test case like a data-driven framework. And also it can implement the keywords
Mm-hmm.
because login, username, keyword, something like this you gave it, right? So this part will change and this will be your final with the help of data provider. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how you implement hybrid framework including TestNG. Then in hybrid framework, again, there are few other types like page object model, page factory. What is page object model? So you have this page, so you have this page. So what all operations can you perform on the elements present in this page? You can apply filters, you can see charts. Using charts, you can apply filters. Okay. Then you can apply filters using the results attributes, and then you can view the results. Then you can cross check if this total count in the filter is equal to the total count here.
Mm-hmm.
So just like a shopping site where you have filters here saying that, for example, you have a size option here. You say S, M, L, XL. Okay, S they say in stock is some 2000 items. M in stock is 30 items. L in stock is 5000 items. Right?
Yeah.
Similarly, this one is the case where you add in all and you have to see that the entire result is the same. So these are, and then you have to sort by date. You have to sort by relativity to your, you search for something called Anusha. Okay. First you have to see the result which is having Anusha in the title. Then after that you will see results which have Anusha in the attributes. Then you see results which have Anusha in the description. Okay. After which you also see few cases where you see the name in very inner details of this specific activity, or activity is related to task. So it's related, activity also has task number, right? So if activity is related to this task and this task contains the name Anusha, such results should be shown in the last. Okay, so relevancy should be set. The most relevant results should be shown on the top. For example, you search for a Bluetooth headset. Okay, a mobile is also shown sometimes because Bluetooth keyword is present in the description of a mobile phone.
Right.
Right. But that is not the best relevant answer. Best match. That is not the best match. Best match is something which has Bluetooth headset in its title. In the sale items title, it should be there. Okay, so that is set on the top. So all such activities I can perform on this. I can click on this. So all such activities I club and put them into pages. Uh, so here, this is page 1 where I don't have anything except search. After searching, I have page 2, and with some deep search, okay, I have page 3 which has no results, but this is not same as the first page.
Right.
Alright, so I have 3 pages all in all. Here what can I do? I can click on this, which will simply refresh. Then I can provide some data here and click on search, or I can go to advanced search and filter based on the inner details, based on many other specifications, then click on search. So these are the functionalities that I can do here. So now I will form a JavaScript, a Java code, where I will write all the operations. Click on clear quest search logo. That will be my first method. That is not a test case, it is just a method. Okay, so I will click on it and I will make sure that the same page reappears again by cross checking that this box is present, this button is present on the page. For that I'll write one method. Then provide details here and click on search. For that I'll write another method. Click on this
Mm-hmm.
provide details and click on search. For that I'll write another method. Then I go to the second page and I create a new file here. Okay, I create a new file here on new class. After creating a new class, I will add methods to apply filters. I will add methods to verify that filters are applied. Okay, then I will add method to open my chart and verify that the data is correct. Then I add methods to click on these. Then I add methods to click on these and verify the same if the filter is applied or not. Okay, in the third page, I will
Mm-hmm.
simply write the test methods for this, and then an additional option which I see in the middle which says clear all filters. No results found, clear all filters. So I will have 3 pages like that. They are not test cases. They are only operations that can be performed in the given page. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you write pages. Now what you do is you write test cases here like this, test cases. Inside this test cases, okay, you will call the existing methods, whatever you wrote. For example, first test case is to open the application. To open the application, I have already written one method to give this URL. and open the application and verify if this page is shown. Okay. So I will do
Mhm.
a launch application is something which is written earlier in this page. I simply call that method. So this makes my test case look smaller and shorter. Okay.
Right.
Then I will simply say search a blank keyword. It knows to provide the text and click on search button. It is called as a search function. So I reuse those functions which I have written in the pages. So splitting your test cases based on pages and the operations that can be done in each page is called page object model. Okay, you just need to
Mhm.
find elements and that and the operations that you can perform on it. You don't have to worry about the test cases. Okay,
Okay.
now you split into it. Web element plus method, then test method. Okay, this is in a separate class and this is in a separate class, and you call these methods here. So this guy interacts with this guy. Both are not included in the same class. Both are split. That is POM method. Like I have shown you now, pages and test cases. Same thing, right? I
Mhm.
have shown you right now. You write
Yeah.
pages, then you write test cases. We have seen this how to implement. And what is page factory? So page factory is an inbuilt page object model, but its capabilities are very limited. Okay. So this shows an example, but it is never used. Never mind. Just forget it. After this, you are using the testng to write annotations at the rate test, blah blah blah. Then testng produces reports. We have seen this already, and how a report looks like. Okay, we have seen this, right?
Mhm.
Ubad, you there?
Yeah. Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
yeah, yeah. So we have seen this reporting functionality, which will show what is the suite which you are running and what is the test case which you are running, how much time it took, did it pass or fail, if it has failed, what is the reason for failure.
Mhm.
Okay, that we have seen already. Mm, yeah, and you might want to email it sometimes. Okay,
Mm.
so it is possible to generate an email like this. So the TestNG has the facility to provide emails also. You just have to customize the TestNG a little bit.
Mhm.
Okay. And then in case of some problem, your test case fails. In case of failure, you would want to take screenshot of the existing screen over there. Okay, just to add a little bit of understanding to why it failed. Right?
Yeah.
So for taking screenshot, this is what we do. Okay, take screenshot is an existing interface, predefined
Mm.
interface in Java. Take screenshot, screenshot equal to take screenshot of WebDriver. So for the current WebDriver, you wanna take a screenshot, and then you take a file interface, okay, like how we did with Excel. You take a file interface and save this screenshot to a output file. Okay, you just take a screenshot and without saving it's of no use, right? You have
Yeah.
a print screen option on your keyboard. So you do a
Yeah.
print screen, but you don't go to Paint or Word and paste it. You do a print screen and you assume that screenshot is taken, but that doesn't work, right? Similarly, you
Yeah.
take a screenshot which is equivalent to print screen and then save it somewhere, okay? And copy the
Mhm.
file to the desired location, right?
Yeah.
Mm, yeah, we have seen all these experts, blah, 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 in the beginning itself. Mm, so if you remember, we have discussed about Selenium WebDriver, Selenium RC, Selenium IDE, Selenium Core and all, right? So IDE and all are not used, only WebDriver is being used. So we don't bother about Selenium Core anyways, so please ignore that. Okay, then you want to run your test cases in two browsers at the same time. You want to split them and do it. Okay, that we have seen in TestNG. Remember?
Yeah. So parallel.
Yeah, parallel and you split into different test suites, right? So to run script in parallel, like this you, oh, yeah, like this you write parameter execution parallel. Okay, and then you have state. Okay, I have shown you the date picker, right? A pop-up opens and how do you want to select the date? Most of the times this field will be editable, and rather than picking date from the pop-up, you simply type the date here. Whatever date you want, you simply type it.
Mhm.
For example, if we look at this field does provide a picker, but still I can manually type it also.
Mhm.
I just type it. Why do I worry about clicking on so many times, clicking on this and selecting year and then clicking on this until you get your month and then go by dates and go to 13 and click. It's not required for the effort. Most of the times you do it. Okay. And if at all you want to select from this pop-up, you will have to identify a path for this year and then click on it. You will have to identify XPath for this and verify if it is what you want. For example, you want March 2012. Okay.
Mm.
So first you take this XPath. So this is August. You keep clicking on back. Then if you click on back, now you get March. Okay. Until it is equal to March, you keep on clicking this. After clicking on March, now you select 2012 from the drop down and then you select whatever date you get the XPaths of all these dates. You store them in one place. Whatever date you want to click, you will click that specific XPath. Okay, if at all you want to do. Most of the times it's input and it's send case. Okay. So to
Mm-hmm.
change month, click here. Keep on clicking till you change. Right. Mm, okay. So the next is build and database testing like Ant, Maven, Log4j. So you see some outputs in console, but when you run the script next time, the output is gone, like we discussed
Right.
earlier. So you want to store that output in a file, which is usually called as log file. You can store it in a text file also, doesn't matter. But there are predefined methods, predefined interfaces. That one of such is log4j. Okay, the other one is log expert. So using log4j, we usually capture the um, message and put it into file. Okay, so you can name it something like this, and then put whatever information you want into those files using this. Okay, for that, in pom.xml, you will add one more dependency which is log4j, and the version is 1.2.17.
Mm-hmm.
So for using log4j, you will have to do that. Then look at this example, the main class. So logger log equal to logger dot get logger, so and so, and this logger, okay, dev pin oil logger, this was already configured in a log4j properties file. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you configure as many loggers as you want here. You can add 3 4 loggers also. Then you call whatever logger you want into your file. For example, if you are using page object model, so for each page you want one logger. Okay, then for the test cases page you want another logger. You can create as many loggers you want, and you can call those loggers from here. Okay, once you call those loggers, you can say simply log.debug, log.info, log.warning, log.error. Okay, so there are 4 levels of logging. One is basic is info, the second is debug, then warning, then error is the highest. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then log expert is used to analyze the logs. So what do you do with this? Know how many times you printed debug, how many times you printed um warning, error, what you printed and why did you print.
The log file will always have
This
all
will
like
be log file.
all the tests
This
you
will,
ran it.
sorry?
So the log file will contain every test that you ran basically.
No, no, no. It will not contain tests which run. You are doing system.out.println, right?
Yeah.
So if you are using log4j, instead of system print, you will say log.debug or something. System.out is it prints whatever you say. It is not bothered whether it is printing something just for information sake, or it is a warning, or it is an error message. Something has failed. For example, if else, we write if else. If
Mm-hmm.
the value in the drop down which I selected and the value in the drop down which I see now, if both are same, system.out.println test cases passed, else println test case has failed. Okay, so both will simply print. There is no difference at all. But
Right.
what will log do? It will print with a difference. If you say for a positive scenario, you can say log.info like this. Log.info test case has passed. If it has failed, you can say log.error test case has failed. So when it prints to this file instead of console, okay, it will print here debug or error like this. Debug or error. What's happening? That information will be printed so that you can easily understand whether it failed or passed. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then mhm. And it is a very old technique to build Selenium files. We usually use Maven with the help of form.xml to configure your build path. Okay, and then HTML unit driver is not required. Test case priority we have seen it, right? In this explicit way it is done. Okay, so we'll look into the details of Maven and Jenkins later on. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, okay.